please hear the opening words of Bernadette Knoll. I want to age like sea glass, smooth by tides, not broken. I want the currents of life to toss me around, shake me up, and leave me feeling washed clean. I want my hard edges to soften as the years pass, made not weak, but supple. I want to ride the waves, go with the flow, feel the impact of the surging tide rolling in and out. When I am thrown against the shore and caught between the rocks and a hard place, I want to rest there until I find the strength to do what is next. Not stuck, just waiting, pondering, feeling what it feels like to pause. When I'm ready, I will catch a wave and let it carry me along to the next place that I am supposed to be. I want to be picked up on occasion by an unsuspecting soul and carried along, just for the connection, just for the sake of appreciation and wonder. And with each new encounter, new possibilities of collaboration are presented, and new ideas are born. I want to age like sea glass, so that when people see the old woman I'll become, they'll embrace all that I am. They'll marvel at my exquisite nature, hold me gently in their hands, and be awed by my well-earned patina, neither flashy nor dull, just a perfect luster. And they'll wonder if just for a second what it is exactly I am made of and how I got to this very here and now. And we'll both feel lucky to be in that perfectly right place at that profoundly right time. I want to age like sea glass. I want to enjoy the journey and let my preciousness be not in spite of the impacts of life, but because of them. Good morning.
Good morning.
And welcome everyone. My name is Donna Zimmerman, and I'll be your worship leader this morning. If you are new to this church or our faith, you will find that Unitarian Universalists journey down many different paths to discover our own truths and find meaning and purpose in our lives. However, we unite in the worth and dignity of everyone. We practice a life-affirming faith, a faith we continue to develop on our individual journeys. No matter where we are in our own journey of faith development, we know that learning is a lifelong process. We don't just live passively by while we count the years and the days go by. We grow. We take in new information. We find new ways to serve. We share our strength. Yes, we grow. However, we try to do it gracefully and graciously. In that way, we are living out our faith. And our lives and the lives of those around us are better for our actions and the faith we live. I want to extend a special welcome to any first-time or returning guests who are here. We are so glad that you have chosen to spend this time with us. We hope you'll feel welcome and you'll want to get to know us. And it just so happens a perfect time to do that is to join us for the refreshments and conversation after the service at the back of the sanctuary. If you are interested in finding out more about our church or our denomination, we offer regular Learn About Us classes. Or if you're at the point of wanting to join, please be sure to speak to our membership chair, Julie Smithers. She will be happy to talk to you about the path to membership. For any questions, look for someone that has a sticker on their name tag that says, "New, ask me." They'll be able to help you out or send you to the right person. Now, if you'll please ensure that your electronic devices are silenced, we will enter into this sacred time together. Our denomination does not require adherence to a creed that we all have to subscribe to. We make commitments to each other about how we will be in relationship together. We recite them each Sunday to affirm this covenantal relationship. Please remain seated and join me in reciting our congregational covenant that's printed on your order of service. We covenant to engage one another with honesty, kindness, and respect, to value diversity, seek understanding of our differences, and practice gracious accountability with care, love, and empathy. We make these promises to those who are here and those yet to come, so that we may be a safe, welcoming, and beloved community of acceptance, learning, and transformation. Now please rise in body or spirit and join in singing our call to worship. The words are printed in your order of service. We light our chalice each Sunday morning as a symbol of our faith. I invite Nick Rasiopo to please come forward and light the chalice as you listen to these words of Mary Shelton. More than a relic, a living symbol, beacon to the bewildered, illuminating refuge, light of love, calling to community, signal of sacred mission, shine now in the world, set it ablaze, kindle our courage, ignite our tuition, spark our hearts to service, glow hope. Thank you, Nick. Now, Reverend Carmen Emerson, who is our affiliated minister, which means that she carries out her full-time duties in the community. She is our affiliated community minister. She is the lead chaplain at Baptist Hospital in Nassau County. Reverend Carmen will be providing us with our time for all ages today.
So before I get started, did everyone get a piece of sea glass this morning when you came in? You're holding it up. What do you think of it? Is it pretty? If you don't have one, Linda Mowers has some, so just raise your hand. And everybody have one? Okay, thank you. Oh, towards the back too. So while Linda's getting glass to you, I wonder, have you ever been walking on the beach and found a piece of sea glass in the wild? Anybody ever done that? It's such an exciting thing, right? It's just all kind of, and then suddenly you see like this sparkling thing and you pick it up. Where did you find yours? Helen, where'd you find yours? Jacksonville Beach. That's so cool. How about someone else who said yes, they found it? Crescent Beach, Maine. Sanibel Island. So cool places in Florida. I found mine on the shores of Lake Erie in Pennsylvania. So you can find sea glass all over the world because glass can be found all over the world. Do you know how sea glass is made? That's a rhetorical question because I'm going to tell you. Sea glass is made when glass is discarded in salt water, and then it's smoothed By tumbling against rocks and sand, in a process called hydration, water filters out lime and soda from the glass, leaving a frosted surface where it was once shiny and translucent. So if you look at your piece of sea glass, it kind of looks, it's not really shiny. It's a piece of glass, but it's not really shiny. What colors did you find of your sea glass? What color did you find? Do you remember? Blue. Pink. Somebody found pink. That's really rare. Green. The most common pieces of sea glass to find are gray and brown, which means that they probably came from broken beer or wine bottles. Can you guess what red sea glass comes from? I have this little tiny piece of red sea glass. Can you guess what this comes from? Broken tail lights. Broken tail lights, car brakes, warning lights on boats, lanterns, lamps, and even sometimes stained glass find its way. Other colors of glass are produced by grinding up various minerals that are melted with the glass, cobalt to make blue, metallic gold for deep, deep red, kind of an amber color, silver for orange, selenium for pink. Sea glass that is tinted purple or amethyst, which is very rare. It has a sun-activated chemical in it called manganese, which was used to counteract the natural green tint of glass to make it clear. There's a lot that goes behind those little tiny pieces of glass that we find. I like the frosted look of sea glass, and I like wondering about where did this come from? And how long has it been in the ocean, and how long has it traveled until it landed on these shores where we could discover these pieces? I hope that your piece of sea glass will give you joy in its beauty and lots to think about. And now Jasper Brown's going to come get the children's chalice as we sing you to your religious education classes. And let me just say this for the kids. If you took a piece of sea glass today, could you leave it with your parents and pick it up after the service? I don't want to be responsible for a code incident back in RE. So we'll leave it with your parents and you'll get it after the service. Okay, thank you.
Our church is self-supporting through the generosity of our members and friends. We are a spiritual organization. However, we are also rational, practical people, and we are careful stewards of the donations that you entrust to us. Thank you for your current ongoing pledge to fund our programs and our ministries, pay our staff, and take care of the necessary expenses to ensure our comfort in the beauty of our buildings and the grounds. We try to make it easy for you. You can click on a link on the homepage of our website, set up a bank draft, scan the QR code in your order of service, or drop it in the collection plate on Sunday. Yes, we still pass the plate. This communal act of giving is one tangible way we support our values and therefore is as essential to our spiritual well-being as anything else we do here on Sunday mornings. So no matter how you choose to give, once a month or drop it in the collection, doesn't matter. Please participate in this ritual by taking the plate and passing it to your neighbor or back to the row behind you. Wanda Frazee and Tony Piccoletti will now come forward to assist with the offering. invite you to listen to the words of Jenny Joseph titled Warning. You're probably familiar with this reading, but not necessarily with the title. When I am an old woman, I shall wear purple with a red hat that doesn't go. And I shall spend my pension on brandy and summer gloves and satin sandals and say, we have no money for butter. I shall sit down on the pavement when I'm tired and gobble up samples in shops and press alarm bells and run my stick along the fence and make up for the sobriety of my youth. I shall go out in slippers in the rain and pick flowers in other people's gardens and learn to spit. You can wear terrible shirts and grow more fat and eat 3 pounds of sausages at a go, or only bread and pickles for a week, and hoard pens and pencils and beer mats and things in boxes. But now we must have clothes that keep us dry and pay our rent and not swear in the street. And we must set a good example for the children. We must have people for dinner and read papers. But maybe, just maybe, I ought to practice a little bit now so that people who know me aren't too shocked when suddenly I am old and start to wear purple with a red hat that doesn't go. And now I invite Reverend Carmen to the pulpit to deliver our sermon today. Reverend Carmen.
I hope you'll wear that every day, Donna.
I do. Life is too short to wear boring clothes.
It is. Remind me of to tell you about the time I lived in an Orlando neighborhood that was full of beige houses, and I painted mine periwinkle blue. Remember your Crayola crayons? Periwinkle blue, and I put a big sign on my mailbox that said, "Life is too short for taupe." So as a hospital chaplain, I begin each morning by printing a patient census that includes the name and gender and age of each patient, together with other information that may help me know how to conduct my spiritual support and assessment of them, so that when I go to interdisciplinary rounds, we all contribute to our care of that patient. I'm often surprised, though, when I enter the room of a female patient who is my age or just a couple of years on either side of my age, according to the census, but see a person who appears to be much, much older than our years. There are natural things about aging. We look older, we get stiff, we get aches and pains. This is beyond that. I'm talking about something beyond those natural effects of aging. There are social factors that contribute to such aging, including poverty and the inherent worry and struggle of being unable to meet one's basic needs, or having lived a hard-scrabble life, hard-living, physically demanding job, such as waitressing or farming, and the uncertainty of the long-term well-being and care for your family. Who will take care of them if I'm not here to take care of them? Who's going to care for them? I cannot tell you how many times I have had that conversation with 80 and 90-year-old people. Who's going to take care of my family if I'm not doing it? Emotionally, loneliness shows up as a part of aging, as does grief over tangible and intangible losses, including purpose and relevance, appreciation, connection, autonomy, and identity. There can be a really uncomfortable identity and purpose shift from being the person others turned to for help to becoming the person who relies on help for others. That is a really uncomfortable shift for some of us. As we age, we can be weighed down spiritually by many existential questions summarized in this one: what meaning have I made of my life? What meaning have I made of my life? In this existential exploration, we naturally bump into regrets that can haunt us as we age, wishing we had lived more true to ourselves, caring more about what we think of ourselves than what others think of us. Wishing we had not worked so hard and instead had spent more time with those who matter the most to us. Wishing we had had the courage to express our real feelings, modeling honesty and authenticity in our relationships. Wishing we had stayed in touch with our friends, tended our community, and wishing we had let ourselves be more happy, choosing to be content with what is rather than being distracted by what is not. Physical factors of aging include genetics, of course, as well as complicated health issues and comorbidities. Diabetes, COPD, and CHF are an especially mean trifecta, and I see people every single day in the hospital battling with those things. Beyond the effects of the actual disease, there are the effects of medication and treatments that can also age a body. And of course, alcohol and drug addictions and lifetimes of physical abuse reflect an intersection of social and emotional and physical factors of aging. Maybe you have experienced this. On the inside, we feel like the same person we've always been, but on the outside, something has changed and impacts how people see us and relate to us. To tell you, this happens at Baptist Nassau. Maybe I've said this to you before. They all call me Miss Carmen. And every time they say that, I'm like, oh, wait, it's me. They mean me. And so, it made me really uncomfortable, but I realized it's a matter of respect for them. And yes, I will be 61 years old this week. It's okay if they want to call me Miss Carmen. But it took some adjusting to that. Some people, especially women as we age, suffer from a kind of invisibility, and that's no fun either. Aging bodies become rebellious in a very particular way, the way of caution and limitation. We can no longer take for granted things that we used to do without even thinking about it: driving at night, changing the bed sheets without hurting our backs, being able to spend hours away from a bathroom. Anyone but me now calculate their trips out by how far away from a bathroom am I going to be? Just me? I don't think so. And it's amazing how much time we can spend managing doctor's appointments and medications. These lists can go on, and I imagine that you could add your own limitations and adaptations and frustrations to the things that I've already mentioned. So what in the world then does it mean to age gracefully? As usual, I am nudged toward an answer by the wisdom of the poets, this time by Brazilian poet Mario Raul de Moraes Andrade. Did I get it right, Manny? Yay, okay. Who, acknowledging that he had, quote, less time to live from here on than I have lived up to now, wrote these words: I want to live next to human people, very human, who know how to laugh at their mistakes and who are not inflated by their triumphs and who take on their responsibilities. Thus, human dignity is defended and we move towards truth and honesty. It is the essential that makes life worth living. I'm in a hurry to live with the intensity that only maturity can give. I'm in a hurry to live with the intensity that only maturity can give. Might we say then that aging gracefully is living with mature dignity because we are aware of limited time and we know what we're made of, to quote our opening words about sea glass. To age gracefully is to live with mature dignity and self-awareness of the essentials that make your life, that make your life worth living. I want to offer you a really simple example of this. A few weeks ago, I was talking to Miss Francis about a meal she had prepared for me. As you know, it is a treat to be fed by Miss Francis. And she was even sending leftovers home with me for Jim. "Thank you for going through so much trouble for me," I said to her. "It is no trouble for me," she said, her truth. She continued, "I enjoy it and I want to do it while I can do it." Her honesty. It was such an example of aging gracefully. There was a mature dignity in her answer that resonated with truth, honesty, purpose, and autonomy as she named the essentials that give her life meaning. I may not always be able to do this thing that I love to do, practice hospitality and care for others by feeding them, but I can do it right now, and while I can do it, I choose to do it. Mature dignity, aging gracefully. In addition to the poets, I pay attention to the scientists and have been curious to learn about blue zones throughout the world. Anybody else watching or reading about blue zones throughout the world, reading about that? So these are places of extreme longevity being studied by National Geographic explorer Dan Buettner. Blue zones share 4 factors of longevity: activity, diet, outlook, and connections. So I think it would be great to convene a covenant group or adult religious education class to explore the blue zone factors. There's books, there's videos. I would love to do that in conversation with people here. But for purposes of today's worship service about aging gracefully, outlook and connections are especially important in this house of worship. Outlook includes articulating our sense of purpose and downshifting our stress levels by engaging in very daily rituals that reduce stress and reverse the inflammation associated with stress. So guided by your purpose, the essence of what matters to you, you focus your energy on that and intentionally try to manage or eliminate stressful, distracting things. Downshifting rituals can include some of the personal spiritual practices we've begun to learn about, prayer and meditation, and they also include sharing stories about your life that allow you to reflect on its meaning. Connections are prioritized relationships with loved ones first, then finding the people with whom you belong, such as a faith-based community, and finally, spending time with the right tribe. That is curating social circles. I have trouble with R's and L's. Social circles with whom you share healthy habits that support the kind of life you want to live, including one of mature dignity. So I know that's a lot of words. Let me give you another quick example of an intersection between outlook, that articulating purpose to reduce stress, and connections, tending the relationships that matter and that are good for you. Jim and I have a plain old composition book that we write in. We pick a year from one of our 37 years together, and each one of us tries to remember the highlights and challenges of that particular year. This gets harder as we age, and it's funny because we each remember different things about the year and what happened during that year. We don't do this every night, but I'll tell you this, the nights that we do take time for this ritual remembering and storytelling, the stresses of the day downshift, and I feel peaceful and relaxed and connected. I feel grounded in this most important of relationships that brings meaning and purpose to my life. As a habit of aging gracefully, I encourage you to make a specific time to engage in some kind of daily stress-reducing ritual, including storytelling and remembering with and about those who are most closely connected to you. So there are 2 additional things that I believe are really critical to aging gracefully with mature dignity, and both of these actually relate to those things of reducing stress and tending the connections with those you care most about and those who care most about you. So the first thing is about managing your stuff. The second thing is about advanced care planning for end of life. So first, as to our stuff, I read recently that there are 4 stages of life: wanting stuff, accumulating stuff, maintaining stuff, and getting rid of stuff. We want and accumulate stuff for many reasons. As a maximalist who has moved a lot of stuff, a lot of heavy stuff, a lot of times, please know that I judge no one about any of your stuff. I'm glad Jim's not here because I know you would be hearing like mumbling and grumbling from him if he... I had moved 128 boxes of books the last time I moved. And I also collect pottery and have a lot of pottery, and what he says about that, well, it's heavy, but at least it's breakable. Meaning he won't have to move it the next time, right? So I have a lot of stuff. I'm judging no one. But the weight of my stuff has begun to feel too heavy for us. It's closing in on me. It is causing me stress. We have no heirs to leave anything to, no one to count on to come clean up our house as we did for Jim's parents, all 3 stories and 92 years worth of their stuff. It wore us out. And I don't want to do that to anyone else, take for granted that someone will be glad to do it or able to do it. It's too much to ask. And for me, realizing that as part of aging gracefully, my stuff, my responsibility. We still have stuff from Jim's parents that I feel guilty about throwing away, even though absolutely no one wants it. And this guilt and shame become a part of the stress that is contrary to aging gracefully. Don't let your stuff do that to you or to anyone you love. It's only stuff, really. It is symbolic of many things, but it is not those things. If you haven't yet read it, I recommend the book, The Gentle Art of Swedish Death Cleaning, How to Free Yourself and Your Family from a Lifetime of Clutter. It's by a woman named Margareta Magnusson. She's a Swedish woman who self-describes as somewhere between the ages of 80 and 100. The small volume is a combination of practical advice and thoughtful reflection on step-by-step approaches to paring down to the essentials, managing your stuff in ways that allow you to age gracefully. It is such a gift to those you most care about. So another point of aging gracefully, maturing with dignity, reducing stress, and tending connections with your loved ones is having a conversation about signing your advanced care planning documents. And this goes for everyone, no matter how old you are. We're talking about aging gracefully, but this is a broad message, please. I deal with this every single day, and I want to tell you that I think as a hospital chaplain that there is not a more loving thing that you can do for your family than to tell them exactly what you want if you are no longer able to speak for yourself or to make any healthcare decisions for yourself. Trust me, you do not want your loved one having to make that decision in the middle of a healthcare crisis. You don't want your loved one wondering for the rest of their lives if they're making the choice you would have wanted them to make for you. Tell them what you want and give them permission to do it. If they say, I don't want to talk about it, I think this is taboo, or I think this is going to jinx us, just say to them, I need to talk about this with you because I love you. And because I know that you love me, we need to talk about this. Mature dignity. I feel so strongly about this that I brought copies of a document called Honoring Choices. I don't know how many of you may have done your Honoring Choices documentation, but I have a whole stack of them down there for you. See me after the service if you want to take a copy or two. Both Cindy Jorgensen, where's Cindy? I thought I saw her. Cindy Jorgensen and I can make ourselves available, not necessarily today, but at some point if you take one of these and want to call us and talk to us, we'll talk you through it if you have questions about this document. I'm going to say this disclaimer, Buckman Bridge is not giving you legal advice. I'm not giving you legal advice. Cindy will not be giving you legal advice. But I'm a trained facilitator for this document. We can talk through it. It's not meant to take the place of any advanced care planning documents you may have already signed. It's to help you begin a hard conversation to address the basics of who you want your healthcare surrogate to be and what choices you want them to make without regret or hesitation. Choose someone who can honor your wishes As a person who sees death almost every day of my working life, I cannot emphasize what a gift this is for your loved ones. We've covered a lot in today's sermon, so much to think about, because we all, if we are lucky, will have an opportunity to age gracefully, to mature with dignity, to tend our outlook about life, and to nurture our connections with people who matter, including those who share this sacred space with you today. The Care Committee and Cindy have been working with UU Church of Jacksonville on compiling resources to help us age gracefully, and I understand there are some brochures forthcoming as they continue gathering and refining that information. I think we could also explore creating a covenant group to explore blue zones or Swedish death cleaning. In my 2 in the morning moments where all my best ideas float in, not really, where my unfiltered ideas float in, I think about what if we created clean teams here, like a round-robin team that would go to each other's house, people we trust to come help us with a particular task that we find overwhelming. Like for me, it would be, could somebody come help me clean out my wardrobe? Because I'm sure that outfit I wore in 1968 is probably still fashionable in some ways. So like somebody just needs to come tell me, let it go, let it go. So there are possibilities that we can help each other with this. We don't have to do it alone, and that is the beauty of cultivating, curating these relationships of people who get us, and that we're not afraid to ask for help from them. There are many philosophical and practical things we can do to age gracefully, but it begins with being true and honest about who we are and what we're capable of right now, engaging in rituals to reduce stress and to intentionally deepen our connections, especially with our loved ones, managing our stuff as a reflection of our maturing dignity rather than leaving that work to others we love, and being very clear and direct about our end-of-life choices in writing so that those we love can honor our choices without hesitation or regret. May we continue to risk being very human together, as the poet said, in our living and in our aging gracefully with one another. May it be so, and may we be so. And I think we're going to rise and sing our closing hymn together. It's in your teal hymnal. It's number 1059, May Your Life Be as a Song.
Just twice. And we're going to have the words up on the screen so that way you can see them easily and don't have to put your face down in the hymnal, okay? Feel free. Nick Graciopo will come forward to extinguish the chalice as I say the closing words of Albert Einstein. Do not grow old, no matter how long you live. Never cease to stand like curious children before the great mystery into which we all were born. May it be so. Go now in peace and growth, and feel free to wear some purple.